There was also a physical exam that was required of all applicants. And the physical exam was conducted at the VA hospital, and they went through literally everything. It was a 3-hour physical exam. And then they gave him like a gym test, so he had to do push-ups and pull-ups and all of the required activity stuff, which he passed with flying colors. Until we got the letter, we received a letter from the VA hospital that requested him to come back in to do a retest of his ears, of his hearing. He went back for the retest, and again it came back not sure exactly if he had 100% hearing in both ears. And as we received the news with a little bit of alarm, because we thought maybe there was a problem with our child. And so they said they would allow him to proceed on. There were X percentage of applicants every year that were granted a physical issue that was okay to still get through. But I think we overreacted. We dragged him to a series of doctors and hospitals, and even went down to the Mayo to find out what was wrong. And they actually were able to be very specific. There was a particular zone or particular decibel that he was not able to pick up, and it was a very high decibel pitch that he was not able to hear normally. What they actually said was, this is not a particularly bad, on day to day he would notice this issue, but it still went down as a defect in his physical exam. So we got him down to the Mayo, and they didn't know exactly what it was either, but in the end they classified it as a deep inner ear disease. And I think it was the word disease that caught them off guard at West Point. And they said, oops, sorry, that won't do. But in the meantime, he still had to go through the normal process, because they thought perhaps they would be able to get him through, even with this ear hearing issue. He did go to West Point to visit on an overnight. We accompanied him. It was a fascinating trip to be on the campus, to be inside the walls of West Point and see where the cadets eat, sleep, and train. And he sat through classes, and he was so excited. He was one of those kids that he wanted to be the one to catch Obama, right? And I think that was his goal. That was his reason, even though he never iterated it. That was what he remembered the most, and one of the compelling reasons for wanting to go. In the end, West Point decided that however perfect his application was in all the other components, it was his hearing that they would not be able to overcome. So in the end, the decision by West Point was thank you, but no thank you. And while he was extremely disappointed, and to this day, I do believe he carries that disappointment, I, as a parent, have a little bit of relief. However, I still admire him for his guts and for his ability and for the endurance that he had to go through to get to that point and to find out the news in the end. But it was a great lesson for all of us, and it was a interesting time.
Determination in both speeches. That's wonderful. That's what you need in this world. I forgot to introduce our guest. Melissa has been here before, but I just wanted to kind of point her out again. So welcome. Once again, she works in our clinical department upstairs on the 3rd floor. Melissa Doth. Yeah, welcome. I'll give you a minute or two to fill out the evaluation, and again, it was how to say it. Selecting the right words to enhance the speech. Thanks for using the word of the day. son wanting to join the service. I'm not sure if it was the Marines or the Army, and recruiters were calling, and I just panicked, and finally he came home one day and he said, Mom, I'm not going to join the service because I don't want anybody telling me what to do. And I said, well, that's a good thing, because I mean, for 4 years, they aren't going to tell you what to do, but I was a little relieved.
I think the highlight for him was actually receiving the letter of recommendation from Betty McCollum. She did, because you do need a congressional recommendation. So he did receive the recommendation.
That's wonderful.
But the final was,
and it was so minute. I mean, it probably would have been fun.
I think it would have.
Gosh.
I think they still.
So what college did you choose then?
Davidson, North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Let's wrap up our evaluations, and we're going to go on to table topics. I'm thinking, Gary, we could probably do 2 today. And do you have a theme, or are they off the cuff?
It's sort of a theme.
Theme? Okay, great.
I'm somewhat prepared.
Okay. Please join me in welcoming Gary. Gary?
So I have a few questions for our table topics today, and since school just started, school is one of the topics, and since football just started, that's the other topic for you guys out there, or girls who like football, which there are some. So would anybody like to take one of these topics?
I'll do
Chris.
football.
All right.
Surprise, surprise.
All right. The BCS, which is Bowl College Series, I believe, for college football, is a heavily debated topic in college football. Is the BCS a good system to determine the national championship or not? If so, why? If not, what system would you propose?
So, I'm not a huge college football fan, but I know a little bit about this issue because I went to Wisconsin, who was last year in the Rose Bowl and lost to a small school that the way the bowl system works right now, you kind of get assigned to a bowl game against another team through some sort of a process. Well, the team that beat the Badgers in the Rose Bowl is a team that probably in a playoff system would have lost before they got to the point where they beat the Badgers. And so, from that slanted point of view, the Badgers probably could have advanced further in a playoff system last year, at least, than in the current bowl system. On the other hand, I think what makes college football interesting compared to professional sports is that you have schools that don't have to win their division, and schools have different levels of talent because there's hundreds of schools. So it seems to me, I would have to say, despite the fact that the Badgers continue to lose in the future, I like the bowl system for college sports because it differentiates it from professional sports, so that's my final answer.
Next. HFP, how about you? You haven't been here a while. School or football?
I'm not a big fan of football.
Alright. Okay, I know you have a daughter that went to college, so I'm going to ask this question. What was it like for you to have your child go off to college for the first time?
Can you say it again?
What was it like for you, your feelings, you and your wife, to have your daughter go to college for the first time?
It is complex. First of all, I think she will be my daughter. Going to college, become more independent, and we have a break. Don't have to deal every day, like especially for my poor wife. Okay, mom, I always start questioning arguments, something like, Mom, do I look like good with this color? Mom said yes. No, I will change it. It's those kind of arguments. At the same time, the second, that's a big relief. And the second time, of course, we'll miss her. We cannot see. Maybe she did it on purposely, can keep away, this distance. She went to Cornell while we're leaving Toronto. That's 4.5 hour driving, so we cannot be there every day. So that's good distance to keep us away. So we're obviously miss her a lot. So it's kind of a complex of the feeling at that time. Thank you.
Maybe we should wrap it up because we have the evaluations. Yeah, thank you, Gary. Thanks. All right, I will call Jason the Great to come up and introduce your evaluation team. Jason?
Right.
Did you forget about your nickname?
I have so many. Okay, we'll bring up first of all our evaluator for Ron's speech. So that's Arlene. And Marvin will come up. And if you can just explain a little bit about what your purpose of the evaluator is.
I was listening to Wanzan's speech, and I'm going to evaluate on inspiring your audience, and there's a few high points here that he should have hit, and I'll try to mention those and out loud so everyone can hear. I started to write on a piece of paper, and then I added more, so I got a lot of Well, you may not know this about me, but I am a crybaby when it comes to people talking. I'll cry at a church baptism. I don't even know the kid, and I start crying. So I was crying during your speech. You didn't notice it, but I control it pretty well. And so that was part of your speech, to have emotion and connect to the audience and inspire us to, go for it, And I think having the emotion part of it really does the hook. So for me, you really did that part of it very well. Your stories were good, talking about the different people in your life that helped you through this kind of a rags to riches type story. So that, I thought, to me, was inspiring. Your body language, very little movement, but I thought with it being a emotional speech, you weren't really going to be, moving and laughing and doing a lot of gestures. So I thought your body language was okay.